Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with our first grand finalist, the rank 1 Protoss in the world, the smiling assassin, the Mad King. In the blue, it's herO. Facing off against the #1 Zerg in the new StarCraft 2 balance patch, herO's greatest stunt double in the red. We have Solar in a best-of-7 Protoss versus Zerg grand finals to Wardi's Korean Battle Royale tournament. And at the end of the day, there can only be one. Which is coincidentally the amount of times I'd ask you to smash that like button. Or maybe even subscribe. How many got of the algorithm? And Jimmy, what are we at? Jimmy. 1,758 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As things start off disappointingly, but not unexpectedly, with both sides building all their buildings on their own side of the map. But one thing that is certainly unexpected is the Stalker stalking the second Overlord and forcing it onto the Pervert Pillar. Which, you know, Overlords usually like to spy on their own terms, but a Stalker just walking... Who does that? Okay. Just trotting its way back home. This is one of those times, which is about 3/4 of the time, approximately. Repeating, of course, but where I question whether this is method or madness. Like, did he just misclick the Stalker, or is this like an active effort? But now, yep, he's right there! Yeah. Ooh, water feature. That's beautiful. Where does the water go? How does he... Why is it purple? Moving on. Now, the slowest chase is on as the Overlord gets to the high ground, slightly out of Stalker range. Couple Zergling counterattack, not going to be much, but... Wow, okay. Yikes. The first Overlord is hunted down by the first Stalker, and with the Oracle to protect, yeah, the Zerglings can't really engage either on herO's third base, which is ridiculously fast, by the way. Or, well, without the Oracles overhead, the Stalker lost its bodyguards, and its body is no longer guarded from the Zerglings, which will rip it apart. At least some cathartic form of vengeance for the Zerglings, who have no real opportunity to do any other damage. The Twilight and Forge on... What? Here? What? The Tech Shrubbery. Okay. herO, he's got the 3 oracles, the triumvirate, the treacles, the tricycles across the map. He's got 3 oracles, 2 robos, 1 twilight, 1 forge, a partridge, and a pear tree. So herO can go almost any direction. The question is, can he get anywhere fast? Or does he need to? Meanwhile, Solar, he's trying to figure this one out. He's got a lair on the way, +1 melee, which is a good baseline for dealing with most things. Though the real struggle, especially when one of your first Overlords gets taken out by a Stalker, is actually finding out, even if you see a Twilight, that isn't really a tell. Not until you see what it's upgrading or leading into. But, well, a queen will be assassinated in her own mineral line. The Zergling's actually going to get a full surround of the Adepts. Some lackadaisical placement means that pretty much all but one Adept will die. Okay, all the Adepts. And now, more have to be warped in to defend. Solar kind of doing the same thing. I'm not sure Solar realizes what's going on, but he's headed towards Mutas. And a Roach Warren. And he has a lair, and he's getting a 4th... So... We're just taking the Prima strategy guide, cutting out each page of the tech tree, and put just scrambling them around and picking things out. All right, pick a tech, any tech. And at this point, many of them are open to both sides. Sure, a Templar Archives, throw that one in there. Just need like a Hydra Dead and Infestation Pit from Solar. A little harder for Zerg to do such dramatic switches, but, I mean, it's not exactly the easiest thing for Protoss. He's pumping out the Immortals. And unless you're willing to unscrew the turret and turn it back into a Dragoon, yeah, you can't unsee it now. They're not particularly good against Mutas. He does have charge. He does have +1. The Overseer's gonna get in and probably be more confused. But meanwhile, the Oracles will assassinate another queen. And a Revelation will confirm a Spire is already done, but a Phoenix is in production before the first Mutas can pop out. Sure, a second Stargate. Yeah, throw that one on there. hero now has the Noah's Ark Protoss. Give me 2 of everything. 10 Mutas on the way. +1 flyer attack. We're going to have Phoenix production. Phoenixes, at some point, become the hardest possible counter to the Mutas. As they fly faster, they attack from a longer range, even without the upgrade, and they attack while moving. You can literally kite them to the ends of the earth. But thankfully, StarCraft maps are square and finite, which means it is technically possible. And the anti-air right now is 2 Phoenixes and 2 Stalkers, which is not a lot, but it's enough to keep them at bay. A casual Oracle just kind of swings in. The Immortals are coming for some moral support to help deal with the Mutas. I'm sure that's why he's doing it and no other reason. Meanwhile, the half wall at the 3rd has done a pretty great job of keeping the Zerglings and a few Roaches at bay. And Solar's making Corruptors. He's gonna go for the Sky Brawler Zerg and he's gonna try to bully the Phoenixes out of the sky with the Corruptors, because it's kind of unlikely this army composition will have Storm, but there are some Archons on the way. This becomes very weak when too many Archons get involved, but then again, that's just Zerg in general. The first Corruptors are showing up. We'll box out some of the Phoenixes. The Ling's in position again, and this is already shaping up to be quite a crazy exchange. But Solar, more than hero, I think, is on a timer. He needs to get some damage done with the Mutas, otherwise his Mutalist will turn into Muta Risks. The Corruptors to box out, but, you know, Phoenixes can fly, so and faster than anything here. Archon, Stasis creates a great semi-force field, and 2 Corruptors are not really enough. The Phoenix count is rising dramatically, the Muta count doing whatever the opposite is. The Stasis Lings helping to zone the rest out. And there is no Infestation Pit. There's no Hydra Den. He's all in a Muta Corruptor, which is a bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. But the Phoenixes just cutting around the Corruptors. Need to be microed out in front, but the Phoenixes just playing ring around the Nexus. The Muta's left out, hung out to be sliced out of the sky. The Corruptor's eating some Stalker hits underneath. The Zergling's getting stuck chewing on the wall yet again. And hero's putting together 7 more Mutas? What? 20 Mutas have already died, but Solar said those are rookie numbers. We gotta bump those numbers up. The Corruptor count is now high enough. Hero doesn't have Blink. He doesn't have Storm. He just has stock Stalkers, a few Archons, and the Phoenixes. And only one of those is gonna be able to maneuver quickly. So, you're right, the Archons. No. It's just too many Stalkers at this point. He's still building Mutas. He's he's quadrupling down. He's dug too deep and too greedily. There is no, he cannot stop. He will not. It's too late. He's already so far down the Muta path. It would take far too long to go anywhere else. Hero is, no, sure. Come on in. That's an Archon drop doing terrible, terrible damage. That's a lot of damage. Hero tries to set up for the defense, but then the whole army comes back home to deal with this. And somehow he's only lost 10 probes so far, as the half wall was doing so much work. More Mutas on the way. Solar's lost 30. Still, he's nearly maxed out. Hero is losing economy. Eventually you could play this war of attrition. And Hero's losing Phoenixes, he's losing Archons. His probe count is not very healthy, but his army supply is looking pretty solid. Neither player has all the upgrades they'd want, nor the upgrades they need at this stage of the game, but they have to work with what they have. Hero's splitting off half his army, the other half gonna try to intercept the Mutas. The Immortals just trying to participate in the group activity. The northern base will be taken out. The Zerglings get into the main. Of course they do. The Archons, though! Oh, no! Solar looking the other way now. Magic boxing to split the damage. Here comes some Phoenixes, but the Mutas just evaporating from the sky. A few survive, but the Archons took out dozens. dozens of mutas. And hero has taken the supply lead. 45 mutas dead. It's a disaster for the Korean Zerg as hero. The game gets turned into chaos. And he is the master of such disaster. Another Archon doing so much damage. And even at this point, there's zealots in the natural. Whose Zerglings are they anyways? There are more zealots than lings at this point. Which isn't hard, because there's only 2 lings left. Muta's scrambling. They're gonna cut down the spire. They've already taken out 24 drones. The main base is vulnerable. And Solar scrambling to patch something together out of this. But hero has survived, and some might even argue he's thrived. Somehow, the tech shrubbery build, where he went every single direction, ends up working out because Solar gets stuck. There's an Immortal here, 15 kills. If you stand very still, the Zerg won't notice. Their vision is based on movement. Dark allied. 40 drones dead. And there's still 2 zealots in the main. The mutas? No. No. Well, why is Hero's supply so low? I did lose... The zealots are chasing down the last queen. Is that the last queen? Indeed. The monarchy has been removed from the game. Solar is now... Okay, so... He has 18 mutas. Unfortunately, he only has 1 corruptor and there are 6 phoenixes. And... the... Hero has stayed on the 3 base, withstood the tide of Zerg, and just kind of rolled back across the map. And eventually the tide receded. But it was far too little, and definitely too late. Despite Hero only being ahead 10 supply, it's such an important 10. The Zealots at the back, the Phoenixes at the front, the G's in the chat, Hero up by 1. Solar... I applaud the effort, and I cringe at the execution. Maybe there was an opportunity. He had the map control. There was a moment when he had enough mutas to keep the army anchored at home, that maybe it was time to go hive. Or something. But mutas are countered by everything and its mother, even yours. So they have their day in the sun, and then they look at any... Phoenix and Archon, even enough Stalkers, and quantity lowers the quality, I think, in this case. Somehow Hero's smorgasbord build ends up working out almost perfectly, because of course it does. Game 2, Ruby Rock. Let's see if Solar can shake it off. It's cool he's willing to try it. But every Zerg knows. I guarantee you, you ask Solar, and he'd say he went too far. Alright, Solar knows. He knew, probably by the time he built another round of mutas after losing all of them, that it was a questionable idea. But every true Zerg loves mutas. If someone in your life says, actually what I really loved was Swarm Host in Heart of the Swarm. 1, why are they still in your life? And 2, refer to point 1. Why is Hero pinging retreat? Sure. His Xbox controller had the hotkeys all messed up. The hot buttons. Show me your hot buttons, Hero. The probe gonna flirt with the minerals. So occasionally we get a question. Let me explain this in depth. So when a mineral likes a drone very much, the drone is just convincing itself the minerals like the drone. All right? The drone comes up, it starts. But here's the thing. The mineral doesn't care. The mineral is not in a monogamous relationship with that drone or that probe. When the drone starts mining, the mineral's like, okay, all right, let's get going. And it sends a message to all the other workers. It's like, I'm taken for now, for the next 1 second or however long it takes. But when the probe comes up and laser tongues the minerals, it's then the mineral patch says, I'm taken. And you notice, those drones respect it, all right? Sometimes players will continually fight with move commands, because if the probe actually follows through and commits to mining the minerals, you can't do that. You can't laser tongue the minerals anymore. But when you're still able, when you don't have that ring on it, if you would, you can still convince the minerals you're giving them a chance. And if you do it right and perfectly, you may deny both 10 to 20 minerals and raise their heart rate by 10 to 20 beats per minute. Because it is very annoying, though only at the highest level when players are actually worker pairing to use the close patches, which is another single-digit mineral boost, is it really an impact. But you can never underestimate the annoyance of a single probe. All right? Especially herO's probes. Wait, no, that is a pervert pillar. No, what? You're right. No, north. Yeah. Wait, what? No, that was the right spot. What? No. I think he had it for a second. The Overlords have absolutely no luck today. I am 83% sure that is a pervert pillar, and he just was not. The tentacles are just hanging out. You can't be doing that. All right, that's personal foul. Another dead Overlord early on. I don't think herO expected to get that one so early. He had the Oracle coming out, but you know he'll take a freebie. And now, that will slow. Losing your first Overlord coming across the map, it's not just the scouting denial. It's a big part of your build. It can throw you off so much. And nobody knows how to tilt like this Protoss. So, wow. Tough day for the Overlords, and therefore the Zerg. I swear, that hat, yeah. I mean, he would have brought the Oracle, but still. I would have bought a little more time. Meanwhile. herO with another, not quite as quick, but still very fast. Does he go for the double robo again? I haven't seen that. Usually the robo is almost an afterthought with most builds. But herO just whips out 2 robos and slaps them down and goes mass immortal blindly. And still counters the mutas. Because of course he does. His Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss once again has led him to the promised land. The tricycles. Hey! This is... I'm Brenda from the Hatchery Owners Association. This is you can't be... This is restricted lair space. Brenda, you're gonna have to work on that. I'm working... You know I struggle with public speaking, Susan. Private speaking, you're pretty good, though. You know that's right. Sorry, I blacked out for... Sure, all right. It's a thing. Double robo charge lot. herO is brute forcing a new meta in front of our eyes. And not like a clickbait new meta, he accidentally made one more unit, so we're desperately trying to convince somebody. You know, for the people who are like, this is not a new strategy. This game is 15 years old, all right? If somebody hasn't used a strategy or hasn't used it to great effect in like 3 to 6 months, that's pretty new. As these pro players have played hundreds, if not thousands of games in that time. Maybe not each individually, but in total. So, new is more like a relative thing. And apparently enough that people keep clicking on it more than if you don't say it's new. And you know what? This is all caps. And if you could put bold in the title, definitely new. It's a Neeb style of build almost. Neeb. It's been a while. He went back to school, for those wondering. Good for him. Well, here we are again. Double robo tempo. Now, swarm hosts. Oh no. Or oh yes. Sir Richard and his band of Swarmhost brethren. And you know, against Mass Immortal, huh? I was just about to theorycraft. Like, how do you deal with this? And you know, in my head, Swarmhost never factory. Even if I've seen strategies like it, the Swarmhost never end up. Wow, the bait and switch. He gets him to chase. The Oracles come in. The Spore Crawler repositions at the least opportune timing. And he just burns the Evo as well. And he saw the Swarmhost, right? Indeed he did. Oh, the Swarmhosts look crazy on this map. They look crazy on all maps. But this map has some... I really love the lighting. And... is this a Swarmhost all-in? Sure, why not? The queens are on the way. Pretty much all of the anti-air here. The Swarmhost coming forward. And there's really not that much for Hero to defend. His gateways are just now coming up. And the Oracles, we've arrived! It's just 3 queens against 3 Oracles, though, so if one queen gets taken down, juggles back the Archons. And the Zerglings are in the main, because of course they are. Just ignore that. Hero usually does. It's the trade-off. Alright, he can't be restricted by units at his wall. He needs that hotkey free. As we can see, he has a hotkey for his Oracles, a hotkey for his Zealots, and the rest of his army. He just wills it into action through various methods. It doesn't get easier to counter Swarmhosts. The army, the Roach Ravagers coming up. There's still the Oracles. Which, now, the Archons, once again showing their utility. With a bonus against everything biological. It doesn't care if it's Locusts, Roaches, Ravagers, Zerglings, or Mutas. The Archon's adding on the damage. The Queen's at the back, and Hero's going forward. He warps in mid-fight. Solar's maxed out, and he's on the run. Because right now, about a quarter to a third of his army supply is tied up in those Swarmhosts, and 2/3 of the time, they're nothing at all. He needs to keep the... It's not Nidus Swarmhost either. Hello? The Oracles. Slap down a Revelation. But Hero's gonna try to Archon drop on top and maybe try to drag out the Locust with it. You have to be very quick on redirecting the Locust. If there's a unit right in front of them, they'll just all swoop down right on it. Immortal Archon! What can't it solve? Well, we'll see. Juggles back. That wasn't even close. That did nothing. Again, Solar's maxed out, and Hero's just like, I don't care. The Swarmhosts, they do nothing. Lurker down on the way, Nidus. Lurkers clearly, Broodlords or Lurkers are the only more long-range option that could maybe do something here. There's another army to the south. The 4th base, which is nearly completed, will likely have to be canceled. Hero's got 10 Immortals, 7 Archons, and that Prism to juggle them. And it's not a clown fiesta, it's more like Cirque du Soleil right now. The Locusts will drop down, trigger some of the mortal barriers. But Hero, no matter what matchup, no matter who he's playing, somehow manages to make less army supply always feel like more. And the Swarmhosts are kind of an asterisk sort of case here. But he's moving across the map at 160 versus 200. And Solar is scrambling. There's no Storm. There's no Sentries. Spellcasters are for nerds. Oracles don't count. And Templar only warped in for more Archons. And the Immortals and Archons are just pounding their way through. CIA, open up! Charge that Immortal Archon, of course. Oh, a Sentry! Was that a misclick? Or did he really want one force field? The world may never know. That's a good luck field, alright? Emotional support field. 14 Immortals! And he's building more! Hey, if it ain't broke, make sure the Zerg is. Hero! He's just pounding his way through. The battering ram Protoss. Yeah, sure, burn those lurkers, see what happens. The Locust dropped down onto the charge lots. 16 Immortals. He's only lost one. What just happened? He lost one Immortal. He killed 66 roaches, 22 hydras. He just cyber bullied the Zerg into oblivion. Hero. He's bringing us back to the future with the double robo meta. Hey guys, Immortal's still pretty good. I guess so. Solar has tried. Well, you know what Solar hasn't tried? A generic Hydra timing. That is the thing. That is the strategy that has had the most success for Zergs. Well, for quite a while now. Solar has tried Mutas, died to Archons. Tried Swarm Host, believe it or not, died to Archons. We're going into Tourmaline, and I don't envy someone who's lost any games in a series to Hero, but going down 3-0 certainly feels like a foregone conclusion. Though knowing Hero might still make it to 7 games then. We're gonna break out the pro brushes. I think it's a natural instinct. I don't think it's really... I've watched enough Hero to understand how little I understand. But so many times when he's crushing in a series, we'll see. I don't know if I'm foreshadowing or I'm gonna look dumb, and nobody will remember, all right? Like and subscribe for object permanence. And if you just liked and subscribed and you forgot, I got bad news for you. Moving on. Shit, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I got bad news for me. Oh. I feel like it's a natural instinct, not just as a player, but as an entertainer for Hero. Where he doesn't throw games, but he certainly cranks it up a few more notches when he's already cranked a few too many. Whenever he gets far ahead in a series, he decides, well... And I couldn't tell you what he would cook up because I'm not sure Hero does, but almost without fail, when he gets ahead in a series, we start breaking out the even more experimental builds or styles, take even larger risks. And, I mean, if it works, okay, you won. If it doesn't work, well, whatever. Good games for the fans. When every other Protoss versus Zerg looks like a knockoff of one another with the same sort of build and timings, and did the Oracles get 2 or 3 drones this time? And then Hero whips out 16 Immortals and slaps them across your face, and then you ask for seconds? I'm sure there was a point to that, but I'm not going to try to find it anymore. Hero, Stargate on the way. That's the staple, no matter what. The Stargate is just... there's too much utility. The Oracle for defense, the Oracle for scouting, the Oracle for harassment, the Oracle for high ground vision. Has too much utility. So. It's what comes next that will be the most interesting. Zergling gets in. It's a void. Hero starts the Void Ray after the Ling gets in. He wants him to know. All right, let the boy watch. Is he going to lose a probe to a Zergling? In this economy? Not quite. Dangerously close. Void Ray, but the Overlord... So he saw the Void Ray on the way, which drove the Overlord from the Pervert Pillar preemptively. He knows. Which... Yeah. This time around, Solar not taking any chances. Not that the Overlord... Sorry. I am... Toxic empathy. Overlord popped like an overripe tomato. The Void Ray, looking for seconds. There's no other Overlords out on the map, and if they were headed out, it looks like Solar pulled them back in time. hero with a third base on the way. And now the moment of truthiness. Well, after the Adepts do their thing. Solar, a pretty comfortable drone count. Twilight Council, Forge. Oracle cleaning up some creep tumors all on its own. Okay, hero. Are we gonna see it again? Adds a couple more gates. The Zerglings don't even bother. A bunch of Adepts, just the shady bunch headed across the map. He's got 8 Adepts. He just thrown them in there. No glaives, no nothing. Stock Adepts raw dogging their way into the base, but the Zerglings trying to counterattack. And he recalls the Adepts quite early. So, yeah, that was certainly... He's got 10 Adepts now. Which means, obviously, he's going Blink. This is looking like a German taxi build. Overlord speed on the way. A Roachling all in with a chauffeur for the Queens. Oh, I thought he got 15 drones somehow, but no. Meanwhile, here, guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Big regret. Oracle goes down. Adepts are ripped apart. This couldn't have gone much worse. And the Overlord. Oh. Susan! Lucille! Karen, get in here! Are we all gonna fit? Well, with the weight you've been putting on, Karen, you know, Brenda. Ugh, it's slimy. Get up in there. I don't. Sorry. I blacked out for a moment. The Queens pop out, but the Overlord taking damage, and without creep spread, well, they could transfuse their ride. They won't, but they could. Blink is still a little ways off. The Void Ray getting distracted by a single Ravager cocoon, and the Queens will outflank it, which is a sentence that I've said for the first time, I think. Meanwhile, hero, blink 4 seconds. How many? The pylon will be targeted. The Stalker's jammed in, used all the corrosive bile, but hero has very little else to defend with. 13 probes dead. The Queen's not even really getting involved, as I guess all the air units died, so the Queens can just chill in the... Yeah, they're just gonna stay in the car. Which is fine, because hero might be dead anyways. Okay. You're gonna get their creep on, but... The Stalkers. The Dropper Lord. +1 is done, but it's not nearly enough Stalkers. If he had 20 more Stalkers, then it would be a game. Right now, it's a death animation. Alright. Heroes down to 2 bases, 44 probes. Ravagers knocking on the door. Shield battery. Cyber Core almost dead. Which is kind of problematic. Is hero not dead? What? No. Mr. Pickup time. There's no way. Hero? Honestly, there were enough units. He had enough Stalkers that maybe if he went directly forward. But even hero giving Solar the benefit of the doubt here. But for that exact moment, the army consisted of 7 Ravagers, 5 Roaches, and a few Queens scattered throughout. There's a very real chance the Stalkers could have gotten critical damage done. Probably not won the game, but there's a... Well, at least now he has an excuse for not walling off. Is there any detection? No. Let the Zerg... Oh, okay. Okay, hero. Solar can see all this. It's the creep tumors that give the vision, not the creep itself. Very key point and relevant in many scenarios. But the Ravager's getting taken out one by one. The Zergling count. Solar. There's a Dark Shrine on the way. A Shrine to Dark, always a strong choice, but it feels more like Desperation Templar right now. Gonna load up a Zergling drop, but hero... It does feel... Well, hero's done it again. The classic, we're just gonna YOLO it into a position that I really shouldn't win from, but somehow holds on long enough that we're still playing the game. Make no mistake, he should be dead, and if it were most other players, I would have questioned why they didn't GG by now. But it's hero, and he's still dead, but he's gonna make a real good show of it. Well, this is awkward. Spots the Bane. Did he not notice those Banes? The DTs? No, they didn't notice each other somehow. The Banelings? Oh no. The probes, not even gonna bother. Just loses 9 probes. Meanwhile, the Ling drop in the main, gonna take a few more. DTs at the front, though. There's no Overseer with the army. The DTs could actually drive this all back. There's a couple Overseers back at home. He already has Overlord speed, remember? I guess if he could snipe all the Overseers, we can go like Stalker DT. Which... Banelings... Oh, blinks forward! Yeah, well... It looks like Solar will get one back. As hero blunks upon the entire... Well, that was... Of all the games I've ever seen, that was certainly one of them. Hero just losing all of his air units before the need for anti-air even existed. Like, Solar was setting up to have enough to deal with the oracles, and then Hero just loses his oracle. What a counter. 2-1. All right, we got a series. Though, well, I think you're happy with that as Solar. What's the takeaway? Hope that he builds a Void Ray in front of your Zergling again. Somewhat amusingly, the only time Hero has gone Void Ray has been the time it took him a while to kill Overlords. Alright, the Overlords seem like they want to get themselves killed when there's no Void Ray, but the Void Ray we want to play hard to get now. Solar looking for the probe, seeing how much he can get away with, whether he needs to take a third. Went for the extractor trick. Probe here. On the inside of the minerals, which is bold. I don't know. Usually this is when you have like the whole meta discussion, filler commentary of this versus that, but Hero... If he hadn't lost all the adepts for free, it certainly would have been closer. But the Blink and +1 were so delayed, and Solar was banking for a big all-in attack for pretty much before Hero even moved out with his first set of units, so he chose wisely and completely shut down. And it would have been great even against what Hero was doing in the previous games. Having enough queens to knock down the oracles and then follow it up or lead with the Roachling until they get a critical mass of Immortals and Archons. It's quite vulnerable. You're going a different direction, but not necessarily better. Stargate it is. Should have just like a voice line for that, so I don't have to say it every time. I apologize. If I just woke you up, Sorry. Also, like and subscribe. And if I didn't, well, then it doesn't matter anyways, does it? I was actually going for...
He's dead,
but that also wouldn't make sense, but... it would be less jarring. Void Ray! Hey, if it doesn't work, then it makes it interesting. I don't think going for Void Ray was the defining characteristic of that build. In fact, I think it was nearly irrelevant. Irreverent. Maybe, but irrelevant to the outcome. The Overlord gonna stare the Void in the face. But still get supply blocked off it, but as those Overlords finishing up. Two Shades. And Solar with a lot of Lings. Going for like 16 Lings to start. Possibly. So the Void Ray is less effective against Mass Zergling. Sure, it's not reliant on energy, but the Oracles have energy to spare most of the time. So a Void Ray does not kill nearly as quickly against the Mass Lings. There's a lot of... Sure. Why not? We haven't had one of these yet. It's kind of surprising. Fleet Beacon and a second Stargate on the way. A Tempest Rush. Well, I guess, or carriers. It's probably not Mothership because he's getting a second Stargate, but you never know, right? But Tempest Rush is definitely one of the more difficult builds to deal with if you haven't outright scouted it. Though, incredibly vulnerable to direct attack until, you know, you get the Tempest. And even then, the Temp is not so good at dealing with Mass Zergling. Void Ray doing its best. The Adepts as well. He does have Adept in the wall. If a Zergling gets in now, that's just throw. Oh, it wasn't on hold position. He likes free range Adepts, okay? And he's supply blocked, so he can't get two, but carriers? Sure. All right, a carrier rush. It could have been much quicker, but... Huh. Now, the Spire is a slightly cheaper and quicker than it was in the previous patch. I mean, 50-50 and 5 seconds is not a huge difference. But it may be relevant here. As Solar starts his Spire, the Oracle slaps a Revelation. Unfortunately goes right by the Spire. And get off my Brenda, calm down. You've already freaked out too much. We've been going back and forth the whole day. It's a lot today. All right, people are gonna they like the commentary, but then you show up, and well, let's just say it's different. All right, indifferent in this case means bad. Well, that's very hurtful. It was meant to be. Sorry, I whacked out for. Overseer taken down. Still absolutely no vision. How long will Hero hold on to the carriers? 4 carriers? 6 carriers? Red carriers? Blue carriers? Take your bets. I'm gonna say 4. I don't think you can rely on them sitting back for longer. Here's the ticket. He just doesn't move out unless Solar attacks. It's going to be Solar. He sees another quick third. He sees another Void Ray. He's gonna go for the Queen all-in. Unfortunately, the carriers will already be very operational. I think the 4 carriers are a bit much for 3 queens to handle. Oh my. And Solar is about to see them. And now what? The queens are still going forward. Somewhat optimistic. I guess Corrosive Bile. And it is Hero, so. There's a non-zero chance that he loses the carriers to Corrosive Bile. It takes what, like 8 of them? The mothership is halfway done, 2 carriers at a time. He's already got 4 with a full complement of interceptors. Any queen's getting taken out before the original fight. Wait, he can't... Oh, he canceled the Spire after the Oracle scouted it! Oh, no! I bet herO's wondering where the Corruptors are now. And that's why... Wow! Solar thinking too hard for his own good. There was nothing in the wall. herO realized before Solar did, but... herO... Solar just out-countered himself so far that he got ahead. Okay, so herO scouts the Spire. He sees the Spire, so he doesn't just go across with the carriers, because then they'll get knocked out of the sky by Corruptors. But because herO scouted the Spire so early, Solar's like, no, let's cut our losses, go straight for the Roach all-in. But then the carriers show up. Though herO doesn't know there's not Corruptors on the way. Carriers get halfway across the map. He recalls back because the threat of Corruptors is there. If he had just attacked, there was only Queens and some Ravagers for anti-air. And against 4 to 6 carriers, that's not enough. But now the Spire is done and the Corruptors are on the field. So herO is actually blindly building Void Rays now. He's wondering where the Corruptors are. But now there's a Congress of Corruptors on the field. And, well, above it, if you want to be pedantic, herO's going for Flux Veins Mass Void Ray. Because he is correctly assuming that Solar won't go Hydras, but instead try to deal with this directly. What? A pre-cloak? Was that a misclick, or did... How? I'm actually going to go back. I want to know what he saw. I want to see the hotkeys that herO was using. Oh, he definitely misclicked. Oh, he was trying to warp in. But what a fortuitous timing. I swear, sometimes. The universal lines for herO. Not that the cloak would have been a big deal, but... Actually, in fact, that kind of hurts. Because, well, the time warp? Somewhere? Maybe? Eventually? No. That would be unsporting. Oh, wait, there it is. Mothership is taken down, but the carriers... They don't have any upgrades, but there are the Void Rays. They can charge up, but if they charge up, they slow down. Which makes it a lot easier to pick them off. And again, kind of a weird yet similar game to Game 1, where Solar is locked into Lair Tech, and herO is on a relatively low economy for what he has. Unfortunately for Solar, what he has are a bunch of carriers, Archons, and Void Rays, so that's still a lot to contend with. Though it's all stacked up, the Corrosive Bow shotgun down, and he knocks down 3 Void Rays! herO, are you... Ah! He even has Flux Fade. What is the point of getting a speed upgrade if you're gonna sit there and watch the corrosive bile spew onto your face like you're at an unruly frat party? What are you doing? So, herO may have just walked into a defeat through the gaping valley of victory. Nope, Archons exist. Never mind. Sorry, my bad. And the Archons just annihilating absolutely everything. Not a single carrier has been taken out. The Void Rays cutting the wheat from the and the Archons come in again. Swarm Hosts, Archons. Zerglings, Archons. Mutas, Archons. Corruptors, believe it or not, Archons. I mean, near infinite splash damage against biological does seem to be a useful option. And the Zealot counter. Solar has been in a tenuous position this whole time, and the Zealots will break it. What? When Solar wins, it feels like herO was like on the phone with your girlfriend right now the whole time, phoning it in. When herO wins, it looks like Solar's little brother is playing. I don't know. Solar outthinking himself so hard. Canceling the Spire, having to rebuild the Spire. And then herO with he put more upgrades into the Void Rays than the carriers, and then he just loses them all to Corrosive Bow. Why not? Frees up supply, I guess. Well, he's driving me crazy, which is appropriate. As we go into Game 5, match point on Winter Madness. hero 1 game away from being the victor of the Korean Battle Royale. And as the rank 1 player in Korea, it wouldn't be an upset. But somehow it can still be so upsetting. Does Solar have what it takes to win 3 games in a row? Press X to doubt. He's just throwing it out. The only game that he's lost was the most generic build, which makes sense. The Zerg have adapted in many ways to the like blank +1. Though hero didn't even do the like normal Oracle timing, but still. But whipping out the brute force double robo, and then sure, throw in the carrier rush. And that... Solar... have we even seen a Hydralisk this entire series? Not that it would be helpful against carriers. They only cosplay anti-air units. They're not actually anti-air in most cases. Way too much of a liability, but... The mental damage, the emotional damage that hero is able to inflict just by being hero, I think, is something that we need to factor in. Solar is constantly trying to figure out what sort of flavor hero's going for without realizing that Protoss don't understand flavors at all with no mouth. I guess it could be a more philosophical question, but we're moving on. Stargate. Feels like the game doesn't really start till the first Stargate unit does, really. Otherwise, the build's pretty figured out. How many Zerglings you gonna get? Gonna keep any at home? We're back to the Void Rays. All right, did some Oracle games. Now we got some Void Rays. It'd be just like here to just do a Flux Veins rush or something. Void Rays are not usually used because they're just not better at enough things to justify both their cost in just minerals and gas and supply. At 4 supply apiece, they don't have better anti-ground capabilities than Oracles, nor as much scouting potential, and they're not as good at anti-air as Phoenixes. Both of those more nuanced options. But they can burninate the first Overlord. 1 Void Ray, okay. 4 Void Rays, even hero can't keep them alive against Corrosive Bow, so. And again, that's if there was any top Protoss who couldn't. Twilight Forge. And he's holding the Oracle back at home for something.
You deserve that.
Recharges it. Did he just taking a breather? Sure. I guess. A lot of gas in the bank. And there's 1 robo. We're gonna pare it down to 1 robo this time. Oracle just teasing the queens. Not that either of them can see each other, but still. Void around home defense. Slices away a creep tumor. A lair has begun for Solar. I'm sure he's still trying to figure out which direction he needs to go. See if there's a right answer. Another revelation, gets a couple creep tumors, shades back, another stalker dead, of course. Void Ray springs into action at a leisurely pace. Locks himself out with the probe, but you know. 3 probes dead for most of the Zerglings, even lights up the Oracle, so brings everything back. Buying himself a lot of space. A Robo Bay. That's a new one. Check that off your bingo cards. Is he really gonna rush Colossi? Watch this be the game. Did he just mind trick Solar to going Hydras for the first time? I think he did. Oh my. Hydraless Den is on the way. hero built the Robo Bay before the Hydra Den started. He's playing a full poker game. He's playing the whole series. I'm not even sure. This is not a reaction, I don't think. This is just, I'm breaking it out. And there's not a small chance it'll be a hard counter to whatever you're doing. And Colossi are not bad. It's just they're not usually the most direct counter to things like Roach Ling. Or Mutas, obviously. Well, extended thermal lance starts. Mine is much further along at this stage. And a Colossus in production. And again, hero is going to have... He's going to... Solar sees a Robo. But you can't tell what's building out of that Robo. And if you asked him to guess 10 times what's coming out of that Robo, 10 times he would guess anything but Colossus. Especially at that stage. Like, maybe now, but already building by the time your first Hydras come out? Come on! I don't know how he does it. He can't keep getting away with it. He can and he will. This is... My hero's already winning. And nothing has really happened. There's this Warp Prism drop. The Hydra timing is coming together. But the Colossi will already have extended thermal lance by the time they get across the map. This is ridiculous. Hero, are you an internal decorator? Because your counters are beautiful, but also confusing, and somehow original. Bespoke. And Solar sees the Stalker, sees the Void Ray. Okay, okay, not bad, not terrible. But in the darkness, they were all of them deceived. For another unit was, well, of course Hero has to pull his entire army back for like... Is Blink done? He has not yet seen... Wait, oh yes, okay. Never mind, I was making it all dramatic. He wouldn't be building Vipers if he didn't see or suspect the Colossi. Hero has the Warp Prism to potentially dodge the Abducts, which is quite fancy micro, but one of those things that Hero is inordinately good at, except when he very much isn't. That Stalker ball roll, and the Queen's caught out. 3 Colossi with fully extended thermal lances and +2 attack. The Vipers going to desperately gather energy. He's going to spot the Vipers mid-fight. You cannot lose it. Meanwhile, just burning through everything. The Baneling's on the way. Void Ray's doing so much damage already. And, no, I guess he counteracts it by blinking forward, protecting the last Colossus. The Stalkers are body blocking for the Colossus. This is Somehow the most inefficient fight, but Hero takes it so quickly and so decisively that Solar might be able to drive it back? Maybe? But at what cost? Solar still has 81 drones. Did he lose either Viper? No, he still has 2 Vipers. Bonding Cloud could be a huge difference here. The Blink's back, but the sheer amount of Stalkers is so damn high. And the Vipers. Bonding Cloud needed. Gotta be careful it doesn't work against him. Pulling back more Banelings just to try to break up the ball. And Blinding Cloud pulls it back for a moment. This might be one of the very few use cases of Microbial Shroud, but good luck getting there. Banelings rolling in. The Stalker count is so damn high. 38 Stalkers. He gave up on Colossi. Just Stalkers. We're mono battling now. 20 Hydras versus 42 Stalkers. The answer to almost everything, including maybe this entire tournament. The Stalker's kiting back. The Viper's desperately trying to get another Blinding Cloud, which doesn't even necessarily win the fight, it just prolongs it. The Stalker kiting blocks forward. The Hydras are dwindling far too fast. Blinding Cloud, but the Stalker's out in front. And, well, the Blinding Cloud's enough for now, but he's blinking past it. The Viper's desperate to do anything. He still has 81 drones. Solar just can't put the army together. The Hydras just keep getting picked apart before they can reach a critical mass. This is supposed to be the counter to Stalkers. Blink it. Do it. He blunks on him, and Hero slices through, blunks forward, and with a incredibly comprehensive, dominant 4-1 victory, takes the entire tournament. The Battle Royale has a champion. The chicken dinner will go to one who can't even eat it. Hero, in aggressively decisive fashion, will steamroll Solar and claim victory. He's done it again. Thank you, as always, to Wardi for putting on these incredible tournaments. Make sure to check them out. Support directly if you got the means of motivation. You can also check out Patreon or YouTube membership, but I hear liking, subscribing, and hyping is still free, at least for now. And thank you to our Mule Tier patrons for bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jaggy, Devin Door, Kate, Mario, Soup. Glad you still enjoy. And to everyone, thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Make sure to check out this video that Jimmy picked out for you, and I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.